Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming to our launch session for CloudWatch Metrics Insights. Frankly speaking, this is my first time presenting to this big audience, so please be kind with me, if you will. My name is Omur Kırıkçı. I'm the Senior Technical Product Manager here in CloudWatch. And today, I'm very excited to be with you to announce CloudWatch Metrics Insights launch. CloudWatch Metrics Insights is a fast, flexible SQL-based query engine that allows you flexibly analyze, group, and aggregate your metrics at scale in real time. And later in the presentation, we're just going to go through some of your top pain points and discuss how Metrics Insights addresses those pain points individually, and then how it helps you to reduce your mean time to resolution. And afterwards, I'm just going to be joined on the stage by Zach Perry. He is the VP of Platform Engineering Team in ArcXP from Washington Post. ArcXP is a cloud-based publishing platform that serves more than 2,400 sites from big enterprises, including Washington Post. They work as a backbone platform for those sites where they enable those sites to publish up-to-the-minute content to their customers from all around the world. So Zach is going to talk about some of their pain points, how they use CloudWatch Metrics Insights to overcome those pain points, and how it helps them to serve their customers better. So in our agenda today, as I mentioned to you, we're just going to start with some of your top pain points, go through how Metrics Insights addresses those pain points to help you to analyze, aggregate, and group your metrics in real time, and resolve your issues, identify and resolve your issues quickly, and reduce your mean time to resolution. Afterwards, I'm just going to hand over the microphone to Zach to tell us their experience with Metrics Insights. And later on, we're just going to go through a live demo with Metrics Insights in order to see how it's performing and how it helps you to have a better visibility on your applications and environments. So let's start with observability. Observability describes how well you understand your environment is performing. In your environment to achieve operational goals, you must know that how your application is performing. And observability solutions enable you to collect and analyze data from your applications and environment such that you can understand their latest status and be alerted in case an issue arises. And CloudWatch collects monitoring and operational data from your AWS resources, applications, and services that are run on AWS and on your on-premise servers, such that service and convert these data into meaningful data for your observability. CloudWatch helps you correlate, analyze, and visualize logs, metrics, and traces such that you can start monitoring your environment. You can optimize resource utilizations. You can respond to system-wide performance changes. You can act quickly to resolve issues and get a unified view of your application performance. So what is the problem that we are trying to solve today with CloudWatch Metrics Insights? When we talk to customers, we hear all the time that your environment is changing constantly, and you are looking for transforming your observability to adapt these new changes, new environments, and the new requirements it's bringing. And your data is growing because you are shifting towards microservice architectures and also container-based applications for flexibility, standardization, and cost purposes. These changing environments and growing data brings more complexity into your environment. Besides, you try to manage this complexity by organizing your resources into meaningful physical and logical groups by assigning labels. When I say labels such as environment, like production or development, or application names or versions, and also you are expecting your monitoring tools to surface all of these labels such that you can use those labels when troubleshooting and analyzing your data in a more meaningful way to resolve your operational issues quickly. And short-lived resources in these new environments, they require faster monitoring and troubleshooting than before. And with these faster monitoring and troubleshooting applications, you are able to deliver high quality and faster services to your end customers. So with Metrics Insights, CloudWatch delivers you a fast, flexible SQL-based query engine that allows you to analyze millions of operational metrics in real time, such that you can gain a better visibility for your applications and environments, and also reduce your mean time to resolution. So making this introduction, let me show you how Metrics Insights looks like and what are the key benefits it's offering to you to overcome your top pain points. So customers are working on tens of millions of metrics, but due to lack of flexibility and lack of proper tools to collect and analyze that data, they are struggling in monitoring and analyzing their applications and environments. And Metrics Insights addresses this pain point and allows you to analyze millions of operational metrics. When I say operational metrics, it's covering both AWS default metrics, vendor metrics, and your custom metrics, and helps you to analyze those metrics to identify and pinpoint your operational issues quickly. And Metrics Insights comes with standard SQL query language. It is one of the most commonly used query language in analytics, but SQL is not mandatory. So even though you don't know SQL, you can get started with Metrics Insights by just selecting metrics of interest, your labels, and your namespaces visually. And afterwards, the console automatically constructs your SQL queries for you based on your selections. This query builder experience lists you all the available resources and metrics that are available in your environment. So you can start your monitoring or troubleshooting by just looking at those namespaces or metrics, select the ones that are related to your use case, and have your query created by the console automatically and run it and see and collect the results easily. Assume that you have created your query with the query builder, and you know that your instances are failing due to maybe one or more auto-scaling groups. So now you have to dive deep and narrow down your query in order to identify which auto-scaling groups are failing. So now you can go into the query editor view, where you type in your raw SQL queries and start analyzing your metrics by grouping your metrics or by searching for top N type of queries to collect the insights that you are looking for. Furthermore, let's assume you're just going to start creating your queries, but you do not want to start from scratch. CloudWatch Metrics Insights comes with a set of out-of-the-box sample queries that helps you to start monitoring and troubleshooting your issues very quickly in just a couple of minutes. These sample queries are based on the most commonly used resources, like EC2, ELB, Lambda, ECS kind of stuff. And it helps you to, for instance, monitor your most memory-consuming instances and allows you to identify your throttling applications faster. And we continue to populate more sample queries on your console based on the feedback that we collect from customers in our customer connection panels. These customer connection panels are focus group sessions that we run quarterly, where we provide our upcoming roadmap items, information about our upcoming roadmap items, onboard customers to our early beta programs, and answer their questions on these new coming features. If you are interested in joining these customer connection panels, please reach out to us through your account teams, and we'll make sure that you'll be involved in those CCP sessions. Metrics Insights provides you a flexibility to group your metrics based on your labels and dimensions. So you can use your auto-scaling groups, availability zones, cluster names, service names, Lambda function names to group your metrics. And it allows you gain real-time operational insights from your metrics. These insights leads you to respond to operational problems promptly and allows you to make data-based, data-driven decisions in your business. We all know visualization is very critical in monitoring. So CloudWatch Metrics Insights comes integrated with CloudWatch dashboards so that you can use CloudWatch Metrics Insights queries to power your dashboards. The main benefit here is when you create your dashboards using Metrics Insights, your dashboards remains always up to date. Assume that you are adding or removing resources from your environment. Your dashboards are going to include those new coming resources automatically under those labels or dimensions that you are using in creation of your queries. And you will not need to take any further action to update your dashboards. Some customers choose to use some other dashboarding tools, and one of the most commonly used one is Grafana. So we also work with Grafana to update our CloudWatch Metrics plugin to support CloudWatch Metrics Insights at launch. So using that plugin, you can run your Metrics Insights queries to power your dashboards on Grafana and Amazon Managed Grafana. So as a wrap up in terms of the features and the benefits Metrics Insights is offering, we can wrap them up in 4 different categories. Metrics Insights is a native AWS service that works on your existing metrics in CloudWatch without any requirement for an upfront development or setup. So you can use both your custom metrics and vendor metrics that are available on CloudWatch to run your CloudWatch Metrics Insights queries and collect insights out of those metrics you have. But of course, you can choose to add more metrics into CloudWatch and still continue to use Metrics Insights on those metrics. Secondly, Metrics Insights is an out-of-the-box analysis tool that comes as a built-in query engine on your CloudWatch Metrics console with no additional cost. So when you use CloudWatch Metrics on the console, it's free of charge. And Metrics Insights is also available through programmatic access. So you can use AWS SDK, CLI, and CloudFormation to create Metrics Insights queries and your dashboards on your Metrics Insights. But in this case, please note that you are going to be charged based on the number of metrics that you analyze using our existing GetMetricData API pricing, because you're going to be using that API to call your Metrics Insights queries. Metrics Insights, as I mentioned before, it uses SQL query language, so it's easy to get started. And even if you don't know SQL, you can start using Metrics Insights using the query builder. So you can start creating your queries easily within a minute. And the last but not the least, with the flexible grouping and aggregation capability, it helps you to identify your issues quickly and helps you to reduce mean time to resolution. So since now we understand what Metrics Insights is and how it helps us in our operations, let me hand over the microphone to Zach to hear from him about their experience with CloudWatch Metrics Insights. Zach, stage is yours.
Okay, thanks, Omer.
Sure.
As Omer mentioned, my name is Zach Perry. I'm a vice president of platform engineering at ARC XP, which is a company of the Washington Post. I think everybody's familiar with the Washington Post, resulting from the journalism. But what you might not know is that Washington Post is also a software company, and the name of that company is ARC XP. So I'll talk a little bit about what our platform does, just so you can get a sense of the complexity and scale of the monitoring and observability that we have. So ARC originally started about 8 years ago, and the impetus of the different products and solutions that we're looking to build were essentially to replace vendor-provided solutions for the newsroom at the Washington Post. These are solutions that enabled authors to write stories, create photos, author videos, and get them onto the WashingtonPost.com on a custom-built website as fast as possible, to get ahead of the breaking news cycle. Over the course of the last 8 years, we've systematically taken the company publicly, or not publicly, into the commercial arena, and have made it available for enterprise companies, brands, retailers, and of course, media companies around the world. So where we exist now is with over 2,400 public sites across 25 countries. Across all of our customer sites, they reach over 1.5 billion monthly unique visitors each month and accumulate over 8 billion page views each month. And from a user perspective, we also have a commerce and subscriptions aspect of our platform that hosts over 50 million registered or paying users. So ARC as a platform has 4 pillars. So the first pillar is a headless content management system that allows you to create content, publish it, make it available via API. It has a website development platform that allows you to write custom React code to deploy to our platform, and then we manage the uptime and the scalability of the website. There's a video hosting platform integrated with AWS Elemental that allows you to do live streaming and video on demand. And then lastly, the commerce engine that allows you to manage entitlements, subscriptions to content that's produced on the platform, and then also like single-use product orders as well. So our personas are diverse as well. We obviously target business users inside of enterprises and media companies who use our tools to create written, visual, and video content. But we also target developers, obviously, who are writing these websites that deploy to our platform, integrate with our APIs, SDKs, and event streams to put ARC into their ecosystem. So the breadth of our customers are pretty unique. Obviously, the largest portion of our customers are media, but we also handle a lot of internal use cases at enterprise companies, but then also like external marketing use cases at some of the leading brands across the world. The usage pattern is very dispersed as well, and you can imagine inside the media industry, you never know when breaking news is going to be. So we get spikes of content, different news cycles, and then we're located around the world as well. So there's always things happening in the platform. For us, it could be resulting from changes that we make. Since developers on our platform author code and make changes to their websites, it could be because of changes that they make, or even the underlying service providers that we use, like AWS, could always result in the need to go investigate some type of problem or issue. So from a metrics perspective, people on our platform produce tens of thousands of pieces of content per day, and the usage pattern of that production is always a little bit different. So we use CloudWatch along with a number of other monitoring providers to maintain observability so that we can achieve our uptime and performance SLAs with our customers. For the most part, we use pre-built alarms and dashboards managed with CloudFormation that allow us to learn about problems in real time. The best alarms will be built, tuned, and created over time that allow you to understand the root cause along with the alarm so that you can address items really quickly. But inevitably, you're going to have issues, new problems, new events that you've never seen before, or things that contribute to the events that are going to need you to perform ad hoc analysis. And that's where Metrics Insights starts to come in. Tools like Metrics Insights allow you to very quickly look across the entire scale of CloudWatch metrics, find things that look different, discard things that don't matter, create hypotheses, tests, and pull forward the information that is going to help the engineering team understand what exactly is going on. And do it in real time, based on real-time metrics without any metrics delay or any lag between the query and the metric production. So when we had learned about Metrics Insights, we were naturally really thrilled. We're always going to take new products that will help our observability and to provide a better product and service to our customers. Really, when I think about it, the kind of the most important thing that it allows for is better leverage and value out of the hundreds, thousands, millions of metrics that are already being created inside of CloudWatch for your AWS resources. I talked about how it allows for really quick analysis across the metrics. With tools like Query Builder and SQL Editor, you're able to group, look across different metrics. In our use case, within our platform, we use a lot of managed services within AWS and then a lot of serverless services as well. And we typically use these managed services or serverless products to kind of bound the tendency of each customer. So we may have tens of thousands of Lambdas that are running that represent different workloads of our customers. So you can imagine that looking into CloudWatch metrics is going to be very, very complex if you need to go first select the Lambda that you want to look at the monitoring metrics of that. You don't always know what the impact is, where the source of the problem is, and that's where Metrics Insights helps the very most. Grouping by Lambda name, grouping by load balancer name, and then putting them all on one graph helps you very easily look for anomalies and see what is happening or may have happened over the last couple of hours that contribute to the issue. And then the most important thing, or one of the most important things with observability, monitoring, and recovering from issues is always improving your assets that help you learn about problems. And the Metrics Insights ability to use those queries in external platforms or use those queries on dashboards is very valuable because all of the work that your team does during ad hoc analysis then helps to contribute to future assets that you can use to prevent a long mean time to resolution for the next event. So CloudWatch overall is a big part of our monitoring and observability footprint at ARC and at the Washington Post. We're really thrilled with this Insights product. It's helped us to date, look into a lot of different issues during the preview, and we're really excited to continue to use it moving forward. So I'll pass it back to Omer, who's going to continue with the introduction of the CloudWatch Insights product.
Thanks, Zach. It's great to hear that Metrics Insights helps you to serve your customers better 24/7 all around the world. So it is time to see CloudWatch metrics in action, right? So because seeing is believing. So let me switch to my laptop and go through a use case scenario with you to demonstrate how Metrics Insights works and how it helps us to monitor our environment in a more efficient and faster way. Okay, it's here. So assume that I'm a DevOps engineer working for an online bookstore company, and I have daily audits that I'm supposed to do just to check the performance of our website. So now I'm just going to go to my CloudWatch metrics console to see how my latency metric is performing and if there's anything going wrong on my website. Please note that my website uses EC2 instances, but also it's working on ECS environment. So here I will just browse to my online bookstore namespace in order to reach my metrics. And my latency metric should be here. And this is how I'm just going to check how am I performing. Whoops. So now for the last 1 hour or so, our latency has been increasing very steeply. And there's something going wrong in my environment. So I can think of 2 possible reasons for this one. The first one is the EC2 instances. Or if it is working fine, then I should check the ECS environment. If you remember, so first of all, to go to my Metrics Insights console, all I need to do is to click this query tab that you can see on your Metrics console. If you remember, I mentioned to you that there are a couple of user experience UIs for you to start creating your queries. This is the builder view that you can use to create your queries visually. And when you click the editor view, you'll be able to create your queries by typing in your raw SQL queries. But if you remember, there's a third option that I can use, which is the sample queries. Since this is going to be my first query that I'm going to be creating, let us use that sample queries to have a faster experience and make it easier to create queries. So we can access our sample queries from our right nav menu here, when you click here, or you can access it through this Add Query button displayed here. Since I'm going to be analyzing EC2, I'll just browse to my EC2, and I'll see that there are 4 smart queries ready for me to use. And in order to understand if there's any CPU utilization issue on my instances, all I need to do is to click on this link, and it's going to create my query, as you see on downstairs here. It's created automatically. In order to scale my graph in a better way, let me take this latency unit to the right-hand side of the graph. And now I see that my instances are performing well. Only one of them went up to 10%, but the rest is very idle. And it seems there is no issue with my EC2 instances. So now I have to check my ECS environment. So I'll go back to my Metrics Insights view. And here now I'm just going to delete this one and start analyzing my ECS by selecting AWS ECS namespace here. I'm interested in the metrics who have cluster name and service name information on them, because there may be more than one cluster or more services that's causing me this issue. So that's why I'm just going to select both as my schema here. And then all I need to do is select my aggregation function, where I'm just going to use average here, and then my metric, which is going to be CPU utilization. When I hit run, I'll see that my ECS environment, its CPU utilization, is inclining in parallel with the latency. So apparently there's something going wrong in my ECS environment. But I have to dive deep and understand what part of my ECS environment is causing me this latency. So to narrow down my query, all I need to do is first group my metrics by cluster name, where I can use this here and select cluster name. And when I hit run, I'm going to see I have 2 clusters. One is the development environment, and the other one is the production environment. And apparently, I have an issue in my production environment. Then the customers, probably they already have seen this latency issue in their experience. So, sorry, let us check it. Where I should find the exit to full screen. Okay. So let's check on our website if it is an issue, if there's an issue going on my website also. So when I online bookstore club.com, it's just going to display me my website. And as you see, I have start shopping, I have share and I have share my books option, and I have the new books coming. So when I hit start shopping, I see that there's a latency going on in my production. So I have to find out the reason behind this as soon as possible to provide better experience to our customers. So now I know that cluster name is the production, so I can narrow down my query further, and I can select my cluster name. I'm just going to say equals, which is going to be the production environment. Now I'm just narrowing down my query further. It's just going to look for only the production environment. And now I can search for, I can group by my service names in order to identify which service is failing. When I hit run, I'll see that which one? My shopping service is failing. So today we have released a new book, which was the Will Smith's book, as you saw on the website. So probably it is creating more traffic on our website, and that's why we are having this issue, a latency issue on our environment. But just to double check, let me just browse back to my metrics and see our request counts that are coming from our website. And let me just get rid of this latency in order to see it better, and look for request count as sum in order to see the sum of those request counts. And as you see, it's inclining in parallel with our latency. So the reason for this latency is coming because of the traffic that we are receiving from our website, and I can increase my resource limit that I have assigned to my containers to get rid of this issue, or organize my auto scaling groups to recover from this latency. So since now I have identified the root cause for my latency, I can solve it by the items that I've just explained to you. And in order to demonstrate you further how you can dive deep in your analysis, and just to demonstrate how you can use Query Editor, let me switch to Query Editor view here and do a top-end type of query. So here we can use order by function of SQL, where I'm just going to write order by. I'm just going to order by maximum value, and in descending order, such that the top numbers are going to be displayed on the top. And I can limit it by 2, for instance. In this case, it's going to list me 2 services that may have highest CPU. So now I have resolved my issue. I have created my queries, but I would like to use them in the future to analyze my ECS environment in case a similar issue happens. In this case, I can save my dashboards using actions and add to dashboard button here, and it adds my graph into my dashboard. I can create a new dashboard here, or I can use an existing dashboard. But if you remember, I mentioned you that Metrics Insights works on both your custom metrics and vendor metrics. So we have created a sample dashboard for you using Metrics Insights, combining all these 2 metrics all together to demonstrate how you can use Metrics Insights to have better visibility on your environment. So if I click on my dashboard, we're just going to see CPU utilization. So it's displaying me top 10 highest CPU consuming instances on the left chart. Right chart is displaying the lowest CPU consuming instances, which are the idle ones, and I can work on them to have a better efficiency. And I have my health and API usage metrics here, displaying top 10 unhealthy instances, for example. And also I can continue to investigate my ECS environment by analyzing disk activity. So I can search for top 10 disk reads by service names. I can search for top 10 disk writes using, again, service names or cluster names. Similarly, I can use the network activity like network in, network out, top 10 values for my services and clusters. But as I mentioned to you, I can combine them with my custom metrics. So here you see that I see my disk usage grouped by auto-scaling groups. And also, I see my memory usage by my instance type, so I can see how my instance types are performing in terms of memory. Furthermore, I can analyze my CPU usage by availability zone. And apparently, one of the availability zones are consuming more CPU than the others. So there's an opportunity for me to manage that one. And the last but not the least, as you see, for instance, we see process counts grouped by my software version numbers. So Metrics Insights helps you to combine all these metrics all together, helps you to group and aggregate in real time based on your use cases when monitoring your environments, and helps you using this information, helps you to solve your issues quickly and reduce your mean time to resolution. So going back to our presentation to wrap up, shall I put this here? Can you switch back to presentation, please? Okay. So just to wrap up, so before, sorry. Okay. So before closing the session, when you go home from here or your hotel, I would like you to remember one thing out of this session. If you have any similar use cases, similar to the ones that we discussed today, please, you should definitely check out Metrics Insights. And it is very easy. It's already on your console. It's out there. All you need to do is click on All Metrics link on your left-hand menu, and afterwards, Query tab. It's that much easy, and you're going to start creating your queries in a minute. Thank you all for joining our launch announcement for Metrics Insights. Right after the session, I'm going to be down in the hall. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please feel free to stop by. I'll be more than happy to hear them and answer your questions if you have any. Thank you.